was talking with someone before the show, and it seemed like we all agree that there's entirely too many things that have been gender-based in America. You know, things decided on whether a person is a man or a woman or whatever, and it just comes down, to me, to remembering that a person is a person is a person. You know, treating each person with respect. But there's a particular resolution, I believe you called it, that you came upon recently, or what's the story?
Well, it started, I don't know, a year and a half or so ago. The situation that triggered the whole thing was approximately February 10th. I don't know the exact date, but it was approaching Valentine's Day.
Okay.
My wife and I were out shopping on a Saturday, and as often happens, I ended up browsing at the card rack while she went off and did some other shopping. And I came across a friendship card that I, basically it said, I'm glad you're my friend, something. But the way it said it, I thought was really neat and special. I don't remember anymore what it said, but it was nice. And when she came back by, I showed it to her, and she agreed it was nice, and we put it back on the rack and, left the store. And a couple hours later, we stopped for lunch or drinks, whatever, and it was still going through my head. So I said to her, I've been thinking about going back and getting that card and giving it to Diane for Valentine's Day.
Diane being?
Diane being a woman we both know. She's a friend of ours, mine in particular. She's a woman at church. All three of us are in the church choir. All three of us are in church plays together. Diane and I usually play leads together in the plays. So I consider her a really good friend. She's a really neat person. And so I thought it would be neat to give her this, Valentine's Day is a card-giving occasion. And so this was a neat friendship card, so I was going to get the card, considering getting the card and giving it to Diane for Valentine's Day. And my wife's reaction was basically, "You're gonna what?" She claims those were not her exact words, but it was something along those lines anyway. And so we discussed it a little. I said, look, it's not a mushy Valentine. In fact, it's not a Valentine at all. It's a friendship card. Judging by the design.
It didn't even have red hearts and whatever else.
No, nothing like that. It had flowers on it, I think, perhaps. But judging by the design, it was probably intended by the manufacturer for one woman to give it to another woman. It probably did. Like I said, I didn't buy it. But anyway, she convinced me that, yes, Diane is a friend of mine. It might be okay for me to give Diane a friendship card, but on Valentine's Day in particular, Valentine's Day being for sweethearts, there's not only my wife to consider, there's Diane's husband. I said we're in church choir.
A chance for mixed signals.
I would probably give it to her by slipping it into her choir folder, and there's everybody else in the choir that may see that happening, and all kinds of mixed signals, and who's going to misunderstand what. So there's me and her husband and my wife and the public at large. Too many people that could misunderstand what was going on. So I agreed.
But the only reason they'd misunderstand is because of our goofy socialization.
Yes. So agreed, Valentine's Day is the wrong day for me to give Diane a card. That leads to the question of, what's the right day? So upon thinking about it, if the whole point is Valentine's Day is the wrong, you go diametrically across the year, and you come up with August 14th, which is as far away from Valentine's Day as you can get. It's exactly 6 months, either direction. And so I settled on August 14th as the perfect day to be called Friendship Day. And this is the day when we declare it to be okay to give cards or other little tokens of friendship to friends,
and it doesn't
whether they are men or women.
Anything.
It just means you're glad to be friends. It does mean friendship.
Yes.
But nothing beyond that. And being a good government type person, I wrote a resolution. And now I guess that you understand, it's time to read the resolution. Whereas it is good and healthy to have friends, be they women or men, and whereas it is good and proper to let these friends know that they are appreciated, be they men or women, whereas if cards or other tokens of friendship be given on or near the festival of St. Valentine, they may be misconstrued by the recipient's significant other, the giver's significant other, or the public at large, Therefore, be it resolved that the 14th day of August, being as far removed from St. Valentine's Day as possible, be designated as Friendship Day. And be it further resolved that on said Friendship Day, it shall be deemed right and proper to bestow cards and other tokens of friendship upon friends, be they women or men. And I think that about covers it. So, anyway, I'm trying to push and create a new festival so that. And last summer, I did indeed give Diane and a few other women cards or other tokens. I forgot. Just little things.
Well, it's something I think we need to get more comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, that we don't have to read all kinds of heavy stuff into everything. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, in one sense, through the show, we're always dealing with deeper issues and looking deeper and digging into the philosophy and the theology of things. And in another sense, there's still a happy lightness to life.
There needs to be.
You know, where it doesn't, you know, while there might be a deeper meaning, there is also a very light, casual, superficial meaning. You know, where you tell someone, hello, how are you? And it's simply a greeting. Have a nice day is simply...
Don't tell me what kind of day to have.
Yes. Have a nice day is just a nice little greeting. It doesn't have to, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything that to make a fuss over.
Exactly. And this is just in fun, but I really am serious about trying to get things going and
and
post them around occasionally.
Casual, comfortable ways, we need to let each other know that we are appreciated, that we notice when they're there or not, and just that we're appreciated. It doesn't have to be something real big and gushing.
Exactly. Just have some friends and let them know they're appreciated. I brought along one of my favorite quotes you might find interesting. Just for the heck of it, let me read that. It goes, why does everyone assume they are born knowing how to communicate? Here's what I said, what I meant to say, and then on the other side, there's what you thought I said, what you thought I meant, what the words were that I said. Ultimately, it would seem more reasonable to expect to be misunderstood than to expect to be understood. And in case you didn't recognize it, that's a quote from Sister Who.
Yes, I don't remember what episode that was.
That was quite a while back, but I copied it down and I had it posted by my desk at work for quite a while, back when I was working.
Well, I appreciate the compliment.
Same thing.
Yeah, if we all started out expecting to be misunderstood, might make a whole lot less pressure we put on other people and on ourselves. But in any case, recognizing that we're creatures that do misunderstand frequently, and that there's all these weaknesses in there, it makes all the more sense to have a nice, calm, low-key way of just saying, sharing a smile, I guess, through just being friends.
Just being friends and relax and be together with your friends. And if I may touch on another subject, some time ago I read a short essay. You allowed me to come on and read Boundaries, Not Barriers. The same basic concept was mentioned in a recent show when you had a woman on representing an association of societies of handicapped, or some words to that effect. I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Colorado Cross Disabilities Coalition.
Okay.
Jean Parker, the blind young lady.
Right. And she was pointing out that in addition to needing accessibility everywhere and being accepted everywhere, they also need for everyone to realize that it is okay for them to have their own little group sometimes where they are together, which was basically what my essay was about, where you have a group which is your kind of people, perhaps narrowly defined at the moment, and then tomorrow your kind of people is defined totally differently. Friday night at a concert, your kind of people is people that like your kind of music.
Unless it's your birthday party, you are not the focus of the meeting.
Right.
There's something else that is the focus of the meeting.
Right. And Friday night it's music, and it's the people that like your kind of music, and
Sunday morning it's a particular church or
it's
whatever.
And when it is my birthday party, then people who would never say hello to each other, or my retirement party, which you were at recently. There's people that you would never walk up and say hello to probably other times, but it was my retirement party, so that was the connecting link.
So we all wound up in the same place?
Yeah.
But,
so that is, there are boundaries, and the boundaries move, and you don't make them barriers. Someone else wants to join.
Which is an interesting challenge in defining just what friendship is. I had a friend, well, someone I consider my friend, and I think she considers me a friend as well, in the town where I live, that had another friend that she was having a serious disagreement with. And she kept coming back to saying, yes, but she's my friend. And I had a real hard time figuring that out, because there's all this nastiness going on there. And I've seen so many people in similar situations say, well, I just won't have anything more to do with them, period. And yet she was loyal. And she said, well, we've been friends for a long time. And she'd make these interesting, perhaps obvious statements of things like, just because you're friends doesn't mean you always get along.
Doesn't mean you always agree.
Yeah, but I mean, even
get
having
along,
fights,
and
the more I thought about it, the more I said, yeah, it makes sense to have arguments with your friends from time to time, and maybe periods for as long as several weeks or months or whatever where there's just hard feelings, but for whatever reason you don't stop being friends.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's a challenging redefinition, because we keep wanting to think of things in terms of everything being nice and pretty.
Nice and pretty, and it all fits together. Yeah, we gave a birthday party for my son a few years ago, and ended up being 3 parties because his friends don't speak to each other.
Oh my.
So he had a party going on in the den, another one in the living room, and another one out on the porch, because these people didn't speak to these people who didn't speak to these people.
Wouldn't speak to those people?
They just isolated and segregated themselves away from each other, because they weren't friends. I mean, they were all his friends, but they weren't friends with each other.
Well,
didn't associate, even to the extent of really cooperating at the party. They were in different rooms.
Huh.
Really strange.
Would be weird.
You would think they would associate to that point. And to an outsider looking in, they looked like they should have been friends. They were all of the same type of person. Those punk, radical teenager types.
Okay. Whatever trips the trigger, I guess.
Yes.
That was one of the things I guess I grew up with, that different strokes for different folks. That what's the point in being the same anyway?
Oh, yeah.
But it needs to come back to a point of friendship, to say that me being a gay nun, I can be friends with a Southern Baptist preacher or what have you. Just that each of us has the freedom to be whoever and whatever we are.
Exactly.
To touch on the points we have in common and let the rest go. Not make an issue out of it.
When I let you be you, then I'm free to be me.
Yes. Beautifully stated. And on that note, I guess, we'll wind it up. But thank you for coming and sharing that.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I was talking with a neighbor in the town where I live a few days ago, and my neighbor expressed disdain that so many confessions of private or personal, emotional, or psychological abuse were being made in a public fashion, whether by talk shows or newspaper and magazine interviews. It didn't used to be that way, I was told. I pondered this over the next day or two, realizing that I've been party to the same kinds of public confessions. One thought that occurred to me was the way in which this was not an isolated social phenomena, but reflected the world around it. Perhaps in an ideal situation, a person in some sort of psychological or emotional need would know that they could approach a parent, a relative, a church minister, a teacher, a policeman, or some other person in order to address whatever concerns the person had. Too often, however, relatives and family members have been more concerned about their reputation than about helping the person in need. Various incidents reported in our news media have generally sufficed to also erode our trust in ministers, teachers, and policemen. So who does one turn to? In desperation, I think, some explode into a public confession. With good intentions, I think, others tell their own stories publicly to inform those who have no one to talk to about the matter in question that they are not alone in their suffering. Support groups that meet privately in churches or community centers can be good or bad, depending on the one facilitating them. But there are many places where they don't exist, and no one seems to know who the people are who would benefit from a particular support group. Thus, a public confession may be an attempt to find someone who knows from experience the pain that the person is going through. Someone to help them through that pain. Ultimately, public communication concerning such struggles may simply be a reflection that effective private communication does not adequately exist. Then there are also the many concerned members of the general public who, though they have not had to deal with such emotional and psychological challenges personally, care about those who are struggling and want to understand what these people are going through, so that they may be supportive of the healing and recovery that is needed. Additionally, there are those who are simply curious and will gladly pay for a newspaper that bears sensationalized stories about things that have not previously been openly discussed and thus are novel and exciting. Personally, I find the practice of turning others' personal struggles into my personal entertainment and cure for boredom to be rather odious. In my own experience, there was a time when I was regularly seeing a psychologist, and we were dealing with some deeply emotional issues. After an hour or so of spilling my gut, so to speak, I would leave his office and frequently meet a friend on the street who would respond with the usual, "Well, hello, and how are you today?" Yet I knew that they were not asking for a rehash of all the emotional turmoil I was feeling, all the emotions that had not yet calmed down from my time with the psychologist. I usually felt rather torn apart as I forced the reply, "Oh, fine, I guess." I don't think I fooled anyone with that response, however. They simply understood that I didn't want to talk about whatever was bothering me, which was correct, but only in the sense that I knew they didn't want to hear everything I just related to the psychologist. The point of this being that I was being stretched, sometimes viciously, between emotionally and psychologically open situations of the psychologist's office and the world outside of that office that was overstuffed with social conventions. Yes, it was a difficult time, even more so because I was a full-time college student while all of this was going on. For those of you who have been regular viewers of Sister Who Presents, you've seen and heard several very revealing confessions from me. I guess my reason for sharing what I do is that I believe there are too many people in our country who really don't know what is going on or how to understand people around them, who are struggling with so many different kinds of psychologically and emotionally traumatic experiences. And I believe that if we could all understand just a little bit more than we do, that we would be able to love just a little bit more than we do.
Teddy bears and building blocks, matchbox cars and fossil rocks, and dreams of what my life would be in time. Learning how to read and write, to write my everything is either wrong or right. But what does all this mean? It's all a part of who I am, the paths I've walked, the place I stand, the feelings that stir within my heart. I won't consent to live a lie. I won't just go away and die. I'll smile and laugh and then reply. I am who I am. Never cry and be a man. Make all the money that you can, and never question why. Choose your friends most carefully and make decisions prayerfully, and never tell a lie. So they say, but do not do. Who then shall I listen to? And what does all this mean? It's all a part of who I am, the paths I've walked, the place I stand, the feelings that stir within my heart. I won't consent to live a lie. I won't just go away and die. I'll smile and laugh and then reply. I am who I am. I felt the ocean at my feet and climbed the mountain's rocky peak, and taken time to gaze upon the stars. I've journeyed far across the sea and held on to my dreams for me, and written songs to play on my guitar. Still I'm learning more, it seems, of how many ways there are to be. But what does all this mean? It's all a part of who I am, the paths I've walked, the place I stand, the feelings that stir within my heart. I won't consent to live a lie. I won't just go away and die. I'll smile and laugh and then reply. I am who I am. I am who I am. I am who I am.
Thank you for joining us. And now may you be blessed with love and peace in the pursuit of your own dreams and in all your dealings with the diversity of humanity around you. Amen.